KREM 2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the Inland Northwest this past week.
It's actually been fairly decent for a shelter.
Ronald Howard has been staying at the Cannon Street shelter for nearly a year. Now he and other residents are being told they'll have to move to the Trent shelter.
We're being told that we have to be out by next week.
The city's contract with the shelter operator here expires at the end of May, but people are already being moved as the city looks to turn Cannon into a medical respite facility.
It is absolutely needed. It will take a lot of people off of the street.
Julie Garcia of Jules Helping Hand says people with certain disabilities have two options: live on the street or stay in a hospital bed. They don't fit into the shelter system.
It has to do with being a provider and having to have insurance that covers the staff in there, and staff can't do things that they are not skilled enough to do. You can't dress yourself without assistance. You can't push your own wheelchair. You need help transferring from a wheelchair to a bed or onto the potty. If they can't perform them without assistance, they're not eligible for a shelter bed.
A resolution passed by council members this week seeks to turn Cannon into a respite facility by this June. It could be staffed by healthcare professionals, potentially funded with Medicaid dollars. According to the city, the Salvation Army has started moving people from Cannon to Trent in phases to ensure people with higher needs have access to the services they need.
There's several of them that they've already sent over there that I really don't feel have the mental capacity to survive over there. Trent's actually a pretty rough place.
Howard says he'll need an electrical outlet for his inhaler.
How long are we going to have to leave for? I'd like to know when I could come back.
In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Right now, the city of Spokane just can't afford to continue funding both the Trent Avenue and Cannon Street shelters. That's why the city is looking for other ways to use the Cannon Street shelter.
The clock is ticking for people who are staying at the Cannon Street shelter to clear out.
We're being told that we have to be out by next week.
The city of Spokane says that's true, but there's more to it. The city's contract with the shelter operator at Cannon expires at the end of May. But people are already being moved. City spokesperson Brian Coddington says these steps are being taken early so that not everyone is moved at once.
It's easier on both operator, but most importantly, it's easier on those who are transitioning from Cannon to Track or to another location, so that they can do it in an orderly fashion, a managed fashion.
We've seen the Cannon Street shelter get cleared out abruptly.
We're not going nowhere!
This is video from nearly 3 years ago. The shelter's first operator sent guests on their way the day their contract ended. Dozens of people set up tents in Coeur d'Alene Park in Brown's Addition. This time around, the city hopes to avoid a similar chaotic transition by moving people in phases weeks before the end of this contract. This week, City Council passed a resolution to turn Cannon into a respite facility, a space to help people with serious physical or mental illnesses. It's something Empire Health CEO Zeke Smith recently told City Council is a crucial need in the community, especially when it comes to clearing out Camp Hope.
Some of the individuals have intensive substance use issues that preclude them from being able to participate at the shelters.
Coddington wouldn't say outright if the mayor supports this idea, but he says there are other options on the table, including a detox facility or warming shelter.
It's a matter of figuring out what's the most compatible use for that building, what's the cost to the city.
The city of Spokane is facing a deficit of several $1 million to fund its homeless shelters. Changing the services at Cannon Street shelter could mean outside funding instead of city dollars. Meantime, the Salvation Army will continue moving people from Cannon to the Trent shelter each week leading up to May 31st.
Now, city spokesperson Brian Coddington says there is enough space at the Trent shelter to take in those currently staying at the Cannon Street shelter. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
The way a person becomes homeless is unique. Catholic Charities Chief Stabilization Officer Dawn Kinder says everyone has a story.
You have to really get to know an individual to understand why they got to where they are.
What isn't unique is the struggle of getting out of homelessness. Kelly Keenan knows this requires a support system that can adapt.
We know that our community needs a variety of different pathways for folks out of those challenging situations. We intend for these projects, and that includes a variety of temporary and permanent housing options that are staffed and designed very intentionally.
The Catalyst Project has offered transitional housing with access to homeless connections for the last 5 months. It was an opportunity that encouraged Joelle Fitzpatrick to apply.
It seemed like a way out of Camp Hope.
Fitzpatrick says her and her boyfriend appreciated what Catalyst provided.
They had 3 meals a day. They were pretty good. There's care providers per each floor, and bus passes. It's whatever we asked for, they tried to help with.
After about a month in, Fitzpatrick says things didn't work out.
The security bullying the homeless people like they're lesser than. People kept threatening full body searches and stuff, and made us feel like we were in jail.
And that's not what you signed up for.
No. We signed up for help.
Catholic Charities declined to talk about the specifics of Fitzpatrick's exit, but did say 17 people have been asked to leave the program.
Sometimes it does mean that we have to part ways with a participant and say, hey, you're not making the right choices right now for this environment, and when you're ready to try again, please let us know.
So the cycle of homelessness begins again for Fitzpatrick and her boyfriend. Spokane service providers say this is what makes the crisis so complex. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Larry Ashu says her work supports Spokane nonprofits trying to meet the variety of needs.
We'll never actually solve homelessness, but we can manage it better. We can provide better resources for people who are experiencing homelessness and all the complexities that led to it, as also getting out of it.
It's just things that happen to people in vulnerable situations that they're at no fault for, but they are responsible for the decisions they make going forward and how they engage with services to get to that place where we can say, hey, you've totally killed it, let's help you get an apartment or reunify you with your mom or whatever that next step is.
Kinder says Catholic Charities knows Catalyst isn't right for everyone. She says if the program isn't working, participants can leave and later re-engage.
They can appeal a decision to come back. So there's lots of opportunities beyond that decision being made for somebody to re-engage with us.
Fitzpatrick says she has not been in contact with Catholic Charities since she exited. So for now, she's back on the streets.
Surviving, trying to find a shower, gas day to day, changing locations day to day.
Until she's ready to get help and try another way to break the cycle.
We are right in the middle of a battle between the Washington and Idaho governors, and they are not giving up this fight, and that's apparent in the letters they continue exchanging about Idaho's abortion trafficking law.
At the beginning of April, Idaho's abortion bill cleared both legislative chambers. House Bill 242 prevents adults from taking minors across state lines for abortions without a parent's permission. Before it got signed into law, the battle between Idaho and Washington's governors began. On this side of the issue, we have Washington Governor Jay Inslee. And on the other side, Idaho Governor Brad Little. Governor Inslee stepped into the ring and took the first swing, sending Little a letter urging him not to sign the bill. He claims the bill could have many unacceptable consequences that can't be cured.
Idaho should not be able to criminalize what is going on in the state of Washington. We will not stand for that.
Little dodged that jab and the next day signed the bill into law.
We'll have a response shortly. I don't believe he understood everything about it.
That was 2 weeks ago, but today, Little came back with a response. In his letter to Inslee, Little clarified the bill does not criminalize interstate travel for reproductive care, but that it prevents minors from traveling across state lines for an abortion without parental consent. He also took shots at Washington state for its most pressing issues. The letter reads, "It is hard to imagine why someone would leave Idaho for Washington when your state is home to sky-high taxes, crime, and public encampments." He claims Idaho is in a much better standing. At the end of this round, Little wrote Idaho has the right and duty to make laws regarding abortion after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last summer.
Now, this afternoon, Inslee promptly stepped back into the ring with another letter to Governor Little. His office wrote, "Unserious diatribes will not deter Washington from defending the freedom and safety of anyone who comes here. That's one reason why we're consistently ranked one of the best states to live, work, and do business." Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
When Spokane NAACP President Curtis Robinson heard about what happened on Eastern Washington's campus last week, he says the first thing that came to mind weren't words.
That, right, a heavy sigh. So that heavy sigh being, here we go again, we're still here, not much has changed, if anything.
Last Tuesday, a racist message was found on EWU's campus. In the message, the N-word and an expletive. Black Student Union President Sierra Alexander says she was the one to find it. She says it was written in the dance studio the BSU has been using for the last 5 months. Alexander told KREM 2 this isn't the first time Black students have been on the receiving end of racism.
I was disappointed, but I was not surprised that this happened. The impact, definitely, we were angry, we were upset, but we decided that because this isn't the first or second time this has happened, that we were gonna go public with it.
She says posting the message on social media shows everyone what students are facing as Black people on campus.
The first part of education is bringing awareness and showing that things like this, racism, anti-Blackness, is still something that needs to be addressed.
2 days after Alexander found the graffiti, EWU President Dr. Sherry McMahon responded with a statement. It reads in part, quote, "Incidents meant to denigrate students, faculty, or staff go against our very mission of providing opportunities for personal transformation. We value respect, integrity, and honor toward others," end quote. Robinson says the incident calls for a stronger response.
By not naming it for the racism that is, by not naming it for the white supremacy culture dynamics that it is, by not naming your organizational and personal responsibility to get in front of this and to stay in front of this, you are therefore implicitly giving that stuff a pass to continue.
EWU says it supports the BSU and students of color. The university says campus police have conducted a safety walkthrough of the dance studio and are actively investigating the racist message and implementing additional safety measures.
So Gonzaga has historically hosted the International Conference on Hate Studies every few years since 2004, but this year is the first that SCC here, Spokane Community College, is joining in as a host partner. So this evening, people will start showing up to here at SCC for the start of the conference. The conference also has an online virtual option, so people from 12 different countries are spending the weekend talking about bias, prejudice, discrimination, and social justice in our community. James Moore with the Spokane Community College says the conference over the years has brought new programs to Spokane.
Our conference lets people connect and build relationships with others who are trying to make a difference in the world. And like I said, it's that hope, the hope that we can make things better and that we can counter all that violence and the hate and the discrimination that we see in the world.
So here's some of the topics that people at the conference will be talking about. One, how educational systems promote and challenge hate, what hope looks like in classroom settings, white supremacy, civil rights, and other topics as well. The conference again starts this evening and goes through Saturday. It is free for SCC students, and anyone else in the community who wants to go just has to pay $30. James says if you're still interested in going, you can still register. Just show up here to SCC, the Lair Center right behind me here, and you can register before the conference starts. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
On August 4th, the Foo Fighters will be coming here as part of their United States tour. But not everyone who wants to come might be able to attend. The concert is sold out and ticket transfers and resales have been disabled.
Nothing was available, tried about 20 times, did not get it, and was told that they were gone.
Jonathan Rivera was just one of many concert goers who missed out on Foo Fighters tickets. The popular rock band is coming to Spokane on August 4th, and in the first day of ticket sales, they sold out.
Me and my wife go to a lot of concerts. She's in a wheelchair, and it's something fun we do all the time, and the last couple of years have just been getting harder and harder.
Jonathan was shocked that even his handicap seats weren't available for his wife, and in his search for tickets on third-party sites, he found out it wasn't even being allowed.
Everything's a ripoff these days. Everybody trying to take advantage of everybody.
According to the tour, anyone buying tickets from a third party like StubHub may face difficulties receiving them due to transfer restrictions. Officials are telling people to stay away from these secondary sites since tickets will not be transferable through them. Director of Spokane Arena, Matt Meyer, says he's not surprised by this change.
I think it's the industry where the industry is starting to shift to protect the consumer a little bit more and the true fans.
Foo Fighters are just one of several artists that have been making this change. Meyer says this is the third artist coming to Spokane that has done so.
It's just to combat all the secondary markets. That way people aren't purchasing Foo Fighter tickets for $500 or more, and then coming to the venue to find out that they don't even have a ticket.
Since moving to the Inland Northwest, Jonathan says the demand for tickets to high-profile artists has skyrocketed. It just wasn't what it was like 10 to 20 years ago.
Hopefully we get some tickets to the Foo. Been wanting to see them for a long, long time. And they never come around this area. It's hard to get to see a lot of concerts.
I'm told that the Foo Fighters will create a fan-to-fan ticket exchange where people with tickets can sell them to others, but they will have to do that at face value. In Spokane, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
This is the face of an athlete who is hungry for a win at this year's Boston Marathon, no matter the obstacles.
Well, I won't say it's easy, and I won't say that I would prefer that way.
And yet, Susanna Scaroni did hit a bump in the road on her way to the finish line. By about the 10K mark, her wheel started coming loose. Ignoring this would slow Scaroni down or cause a flat.
This has happened to me in the past, not very often, but maybe once a year. So I carried an Allen key, tightened it up, and then tried to get back to a fast pace and try to hold that and see what kind of gap I could maintain.
Despite this slight setback, she maintained a huge gap.
You can see it. You can see the smile on her face. She knows she has it.
Scaroni crossed the finish line with about a mile lead from the rest of the pack.
I always expect there might be somebody going to sprint past me at the finish line. And I just was so thankful that it was only me when I came across.
In total control as she wins her first Boston Marathon.
It feels honestly very incredible. I am thankful each time I race to get to be out there, and yesterday was no different.
She's now taking the next few days to rest before her next race in London this weekend.
As a wheelchair racer, unlike an able-bodied runner, we don't have a lot of compact impact on our joints when we are doing our sport. So yes, we're going all out. I'm going all out the entire race, but it's something where I can recover within that week.
Scaroni says champagne will be waiting for her when she returns to the States. And after that, she'll be back on the road to satisfy her hunger for a fourth Bloomsday win.
It may be April in downtown Spokane, but in a few short weeks, this will turn into this for the return of Hoopfest. The 3-on-3 basketball tournament takes over the city streets in late June.
24,000+ players, and downtown Spokane gets over 200,000 people.
Right in the middle of it all is Hoopfest volunteer Mike Crowley. He's been a volunteer for the event since the early 2000s, after first starting off as a player.
It was fun to be downtown during it, but if you're not on a very good team, you play like 3 games and you go home, and I thought I'd rather stay downtown all weekend. So I figured out if I volunteered and could be downtown all day Saturday and all day Sunday. I don't think I knew it was going to be 18, 20 hours over the weekend.
But he enjoyed every minute of that first weekend, and he's been volunteering ever since. According to Hoopfest Director of Volunteers and Staffing Chad Smith, it's volunteers like Crowley who are the real MVPs in the tournament.
Hoopfest doesn't happen if we don't have that support system. It's just too big of an event for us to run or to go out and pay for people to come work the event. It would just go away.
Smith says in recent years, they've typically had about 1,500 to 2,000 volunteers annually. He also says they usually retain about 60% of their volunteers year after year, which means they're trying to recruit the remaining 40% to fill in the gaps.
You know, it's always a little bit of a challenge. You know, like I said, we have a lot of popular positions and people are snagging those really quick, but you know, we can always use more, and it looks like our event's going to grow from where it was last year.
So what does a Hoopfest volunteer get? Every volunteer will get a t-shirt. Court monitors will also get Under Armour gear this year, including brand new shoes. But as Crowley knows all too well, volunteering at Hoopfest is about more than the swag.
There are some people that do it for the shoes, but they stay for the fun.
And this year's Hoopfest is June 24th and 25th. If you are interested in volunteering for the tournament, text the word Hoopfest to 509-448-2000 and we'll send that information right to your phone. In the studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
The final structural beam is now in place on Concourse C, topping out the first phase of the airport's terminal expansion. The Spokane Airport celebrated a project milestone, locking 2,400 pounds of steel into place during Thursday's topping out ceremony.
It symbolizes the completion of over 1 million pounds of steel.
It's the final support beam of this part of the airport's addition to Concourse C, which will house 3 new gates.
It's going to be very modern, and it's going to be telling our story as a community. And I think that's going to be one of the big differences that people see.
But it's more than just upgrades. It's upping capacity. Last year, the airport saw 4 million passengers, the 3rd highest ever. By 2030, that's expected to grow to more than 6 million travelers.
The $150 million project, 144,000 square foot expansion, will provide much needed additional capacity to accommodate all the people that are coming through our region.
Later phases of the project will add on to the eastern section of the concourse and create more space for ticket counters.
So that may mean expanding existing nonstop destinations with more frequencies or adding new nonstop destinations that we don't currently have today.
More space for opportunities to take off.
We're just not a place to catch a plane. We are a significant economic engine.
Now, this phase of the project is expected to be complete in the fall, with that entire terminal expansion project wrapping up sometime in 2025. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
A baby that was born at the beginning of the pandemic is now 3 years old, and the toddlers at the beginning of the pandemic are now getting ready to go to school. But the lockdowns these little ones lived through means a lot of them weren't able to learn communication skills and how to function in group settings.
Pick that flower and smell it.
If you went to preschool, you probably don't remember much.
You got a tiny candle.
But what teacher Teresa Meckel is teaching will last a lifetime.
What my body does. We do lots and lots of social emotional development in our classroom.
Teresa has been a preschool teacher for 20 years.
I love watching the kids grow.
This year, though, the growth Teresa is seeing is different.
Let's go. And I've got this new batch of 3-year-olds that are those COVID babies, that haven't had the opportunity to play with others, that haven't been in a daycare or preschool setting before.
So now her class of 3 to 5-year-olds is acting more like toddlers.
Screaming, hitting, or biting as a first response instead of, hey, I was still playing with that.
During COVID lockdowns, it was harder for kids to learn those skills.
Before lockdown, the kids seemed to pick up on it faster. They were cognitively ready for those skills.
Now they're having trouble with the basics.
How do I wait my turn? How do I be helpful? How do I be kind?
And it's not just Teresa's classroom.
It is very unprecedented.
Bobby Woodrow runs Spokane's Community College's Head Start programs.
We score children's progress in their growth throughout the year to determine where they are.
Basket! Before the pandemic in 2019, 79% of kids in Washington state were reaching their developmental goals. Now, only 62% are reaching those goals.
Any child who's been isolated more frequently, has less connection to community, we're going to see regression.
Uh-oh, try again.
Teachers like Teresa are having to play catch up.
We still start where the kids are and scaffold and give them the tools to take that next step.
Even if building those skills looks a little different this year.
This is the way we keep it safe at the ELC. We use.
Because of these developmental delays, more kids are needing individualized help. And at the same time, the early learning field is having trouble finding teachers to work. So ultimately, less kids are getting the help they need in a time when the need is particularly high. In the newsroom, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
I'm outside the Walmart on Sprague, where I had the chance to speak with people on what they thought about the new change. And many of them had differing opinions.
It seemed a little predatory, I guess, that's my only option, is like I can spend money on getting another one that I already have.
Plastic bags are no more at Washington Walmarts. This is thanks to Walmart's Bag Better initiative. Its goal is to become a zero-waste company, and eliminating plastic bags is how they can get there.
So I think it's like more convenient because it's more environmental safety.
Even though Walmart has been warning its shoppers for the past month, some shoppers like Brandon Shaw were still caught off guard.
A little frustrating just because I use the self-checkout, so I had to put everything onto the checkout and then put it all back into the cart.
Walmart says they were exploring alternatives to plastic bags since 2021. And since last October, Walmart has rolled out Walmart-branded reusable bags.
I feel like this is going to be a trendsetter, to be honest. I think it's just going to start happening everywhere. And yeah, you'll hear about it.
3 other states today eliminated these bags, including Oregon, Washington, D.C., and Delaware. There are now 10 states in total that have made this change. One shopper says this move shouldn't annoy anyone.
I don't see why it would be at this point. It's been a long time coming. No one should be surprised.
In a statement to KREM 2, Walmart said that they are committed to identifying solutions that are scalable, convenient, and sustainable. Brandon wished there was still a way Walmart could provide single-use bags.
It's inconvenient. I wish that there was some sort of middle ground, maybe something that was like biodegradable or compostable or something that you didn't use every time.
And for curbside delivery, Walmart encourages customers to bring their own bags. If not, they will bring items out in paper bags. So these are the bags that Walmart is giving out for free. They're reusable, and they're going to give them out for the next couple of days. They're also selling 99-cent bags that are Walmart branded. In Spokane, Nathan Han, KREM 2 News.
And finally here. Some of them are 4 times his age, and he's nearly twice their size. Today, Grandmas for Gregg at Evergreen Fountain Senior Living got to meet their hero.
Oh, well, it was thrilling to finally meet him in person. He's every bit what I thought he was. Tall, handsome, so nice, so polite. I'd be proud to have him as a grandson. Every one of us would be proud to have him for a grandson.
So what's it like finally meting all these grandmas that have been cheering you on?
It's awesome. It is awesome. I mean, I had no idea the group was this big. I saw a picture of it, but to see this whole room filled with people it was really cool, and to finally be able to come out here and hang out with them was really fun.
Ben Gregg sat for questions.
First of all, thank you guys all. I mean, this is quite the group of ladies.
The grandmas grilled him, asking if he gets enough to eat after practice and what his plans are after college.
Hopefully play basketball as long as I can and then figure it out from there.
They also had questions about his unique hairstyle.
So what do you call your haircut? I'm sorry.
That is a good question. I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Ben signed autographs, posed for photos, and even got his own shirt, Gregg for Grandmas. Ben's real-life grandma was also here.
They gave me my own. I bought one actually. I had one made too, but this is the original one, so I'm gonna wear this. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
In Spokane Valley, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
George Potifrac. I am 93.
How many years have you been skiing, George?
Since I was 36. How many years that is, I don't know. You can do the others.
Yeah.
Always like the outdoors. You come out here and you got all this beautiful outdoors to look at. Fresh snow coming down. How can you beat it? Great big slalom turns. Don't have to slow down. Nobody to run into except him, but he's too fast.
So how many days have you made it out this season?
Oh, over 30. It's been a good year.
Any words of wisdom for anyone? Maybe new skiers, maybe old skiers, maybe anyone?
Stay vertical. Stay active. Don't stop. People tell you you're too old to do stuff. Don't believe them. You know, just keep doing it. Good snow, as long as it's white. That's my favorite mountain.
49?
The one that's white.
Oh.
I kind of believe in taking a very comfortable intermediate run for the last run of the day, because you go off the hill thinking you're a fantastic skier, you know?
Downtown's a lot less scary than people think. My name's JJ Wandler. I'm the owner of Entropy. I had walked by and driven by the space that we're in at 101 North Stevens for years and years. And I had looked inside and I thought it was just one of the most amazing buildings that I had ever seen. And I resolved that if it ever came up for lease, that I would try to get it. Last December, I was driving by and I saw the for lease sign on the window. I almost caused an accident trying to swerve over to the side of the road and find parking to come back here and to call the number. I spoke to the woman who was leasing it. We arranged a meet here and we were inside the space for less than 5 minutes when I said, I'll take it. I didn't know it was gonna be a record store or a vintage shop or an art gallery. It became all three.
It's rad. We're here 7 days a week, 10 to 6. I am Garrett Zanol. I am the manager here at Entropy. It's a spot that really doesn't exist in Spokane. It caters to all sorts of people here.
The fact that we have a record store in a round building really works out well. One of the things I did, knowing when I knew that it was going to be a record store, is I decided to put in black carpet so that the round room would resemble a record. I hope to be a space downtown that people can find a record that they're looking for or an incredible, unique gift for someone that's hard to shop for on their list, or to just appreciate local contemporary art.
Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast right here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for them in the bottom navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.